like that. Well, then you better supplement.
Macrobiotics, just like people that are vegans.
Just like Pritikin. It's incomplete.
Well, Pritikin happened to die of leukemia.
Oh, well, I cured the people that had the heart disease. Big deal. It's incomplete.
No, it isn't.
Okay?
It's not incomplete.
It is.
No, it ain't. These people that know how to properly be vegans, know how to combine foods. What about the Hindus in India for thousands of years? They're vegans.
They died young.
You're trying to question a civilization that's thousands of years old?
They died young.
Ayurvedic medicine, Hindus.
They died young.
But you ever see the variety of vegetarian foods that they eat?
They died young.
No, they didn't. Well, everybody died.
And my buddy, my friend, my boy.
Everybody died.
Variety is something new as far as foods are concerned.
Listen, they combine.
Variety did not exist.
They combined
in the old days in any civilization.
Listen, Mr. Western culture.
Generalizing.
In India, they combined legumes with grains all the time, so they got
incomplete.
No, complete protein.
No vitamin C. No vitamin E.
They had fruit.
Incomplete.
They had fruits in India.
Incomplete.
No, you're wrong.
How much vitamin C do you get a day from all the fruits you eat?
A lot.
It ain't enough.
Papayas, mangoes.
It ain't enough.
From India, of course. Bananas came from India. Lots of berries.
It ain't enough.
There's a tremendous amount of vitamin C in certain fruits.
No, there's not.
But it's biologically active vitamin C.
It's not enough.
Listen, you're trying to compare.
You got a fruit. What? You can take maybe 10 fruits a day. Maybe you'll get 1,000 milligrams.
You're trying to compare.
Come on, man.
You're trying to compare a petroleum.
I'm trying to compare right and wrong.
You're trying to compare a petroleum-based laboratory.
Here we go.
Synthetic ascorbic acid taken in megadoses with a natural vitamin C made by Mother Nature.
What does that have to do with amount?
What I'm trying to say...
What does that have to do with amount?
The ancients...
The product, or where it comes from.
The ancients...
I'm talking about amount.
Buddhist monks, Indian Hindus from India, they knew how to combine foods and get a completely balanced diet.
They didn't have the foods to combine.
They had plenty of natural whole foods.
No,
non-GMO. Non-GMO.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, well. You say what you want, but believe me, the statistics show...
There are no statistics to show
that the European carnivores and other carnivores, you got to understand something.
Here we go.
The gastrointestinal tract
what does that have to do with incomplete?
Of a carnivore is short intestinal tract. We have a long intestinal tract.
What does all that have to do with incomplete?
All right, well, you're trying to say...
I maintained incomplete. Macrobiotic diet is incomplete.
Well, Dan...
Period.
Well, Dan says he could debate you and run rings around you.
And it's not up for debate.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. I said it's incomplete.
Well...
It's incomplete.
I'll talk to Dan about this.
Dan ain't got the answers
sure
if he believes what he believes.
Well, macrobiotics...
How can there be a debate?
Macrobiotics is based on a form of veganism, or dealing with yin and yang. If you live in the northern hemisphere, you only eat certain foods because you are living in the northern hemisphere, as opposed to the southern hemisphere.
Incomplete.
How could it be incomplete if you eat a wide variety?
Because it doesn't have the vitamins and minerals and nutrients that are required.
So what you're saying is fruits and vegetables from Mother Nature does not have all the nutrition that one needs. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying that if people relied on food for the optimal supplements that they needed, they would be making a big mistake.
Well, produce.
Okay, that's it. Macrobiotic diet is incomplete.
Produce.
That's all I'm saying.
Produce that is not GMO, that is organic.
Oh, we're not discussing GMO.
Is loaded with, I'm talking about organic produce like they did in ancient times. Is loaded.
Ancient times again. did not have the variety of foods that we have today.
Have you ever studied the?
One does not have to study it. It is a fact of life.
So you know that in Asia, in China, in Japan, and India, they did not have an adequate variety for thousands of years. That's what you're trying to say?
They died young.
What about that famous Chinese person that lives to 252 years old?
See, there again is these things that you believe.
Yes, they have. I read about him. I seen a photo.
Read about him.
I seen a
it's
photo.
It's not a fact.
Believe me, they're more advanced than the Europeans.
It's not a fact.
See, that's the thing about European culture. They have that, and that's why America is so
generalizing.
That's why Americans are so arrogant. You know, they think they're much superior in every way to the rest of the world, to other races. Now you're trying to tell me.
What does that have to do with a macrobiotic diet being incomplete?
Well,
a 252-year-old man. No one has existed since then, since the beginning of the Bible.
Well, the Mayans, the Aztecs, and the Incas ate predominantly a vegetarian, mostly.
Yes, they ate local foods, and there was no variety that came in from other countries to enhance their foodstuffs.
Right. And
so the variety was never there.
Other countries.
They were like koala bears.
Other countries
eating eucalyptus.
They have fish. They have seafood and chicken and pork and beef in Asian countries for thousands of years. They have the same foods that we have.
First of all, you're talking about macrobiotics. You started with.
All right.
What does that have to do with the with animal
because
products?
You keep on saying they didn't have the variety, but let's stick to macrobiotics.
Macrobiotic is incomplete. If you don't believe me...
You're not talking about vegan.
If you don't believe me, check Mr. Gnoll's website,
all right, so,
and he'll inform you of such.
So you're talking about strictly macrobiotics and not veganism. Is that correct?
I'm talking about veganism also.
Oh, really?
Unless you supplement with your B12, you're going to have difficulty getting it.
Do you know you can get a lot of B12 from tempeh and spirulina? And the yeast that grows on fruit?
What is a lot?
Plenty. It's there. You have to eat a higher volume. As a vegan has to consume a higher volume of food to equal the consumption of meat. That is true.
No, I'm not talking about meat. I'm talking about nutrients.
So you're saying
and what you have to do
vegans,
if you choose a certain way of eating, you have to be up on stuff, and you have to be able to supplement what you're missing.
People, vegans out there, experts, please feel free to comment on this show.
Yeah, but feel free not to give your opinions.
No, give data.
That's correct.
Research data. Don't just give opinions.
Because opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one.
And everybody.
You know what they call an Italian? Forgot the goddamn joke.
Well, Marco Polo brought a lot back from China, to a backward Europe at that time.
Yeah, and geez, how many people were able to partake in that?
Probably the rich.
That's correct.
And the Pope at that time. The rich, of course, the elitists. You know, I mean, I'm not
actually
discrediting.
Back in Egypt, when the Israelites were slaves,
right,
they actually ate better than the elites.
Oh, really?
And also in Daniel's time. Daniel, because he obeyed certain laws put down by God, ate better than the Pharaoh and those around him.
Well, the so-called peasant's diet was definitely much higher in fiber and phytonutrients than the so-called elitist diet, which was a lot of refined foods. But the point is that if you eat the correct volume of vegetable matter and you combine it properly, you can do great. Extend your life, your endurance, your stamina, can't be cancer-free, heart disease-free.
Can't get carnosine.
Carnosine?
Yeah, a vegan can't get carnosine.
Well, isn't carnosine produced by other nutrients?
Animals. It's called carne. Comes from the word carne, which means in Spanish, Espanol.
Meat.
Correct.
Well, hey,
You
they say you need to eat meat for B12 and iron, but there's
But a
definitely
vegan ain't gonna do that.
well, there's a hell of a lot of iron in blackstrap molasses and other dark leafy
And
greens.
there's a lot of sugar.
Dark leafy greens, sea vegetables. You know they're calling kale the vegetable alternative to beef. Kale is so nutrient packed. Kale is king, man, and watercress is up there.
King kale.
King kale, you better believe it, man. And sea vegetables, the richest source of minerals, macro and trace minerals known.
But in what quantity?
Vegans should definitely take a good spirulina supplement. Definitely.
There's small quantities. Small quantities.
Well, a herbivore eats a much larger volume than, let's say, a tiger, than a cat. There's a much higher volume, consumed by herbivores. Anyway, I'm sorry to ignore you people.
We're on. What the hell?
We're on the air. I did not formally introduce ourselves because of the big debate we had just before. This is Progressive Discussions. Welcome to Progressive Discussions. I am your host, James P. Madonna, and we are at the Newsletter Censored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey. It happens to be Saturday, July the 28th, 2012, and yes, it is very hot and humid out, but it looks like a thunderstorm is coming. And if you're wondering what this is me, Blackthorn weapons grade shillelagh imported from Ireland. It helps me emphasize certain things. I love to wave it around because some jabroni on YouTube said, "Hey, what's that thing you're waving around?" Well, you idiot, I told you in the video I did for regional food and drink, the Chiseler's Hall of Shame. I explained to you what this is. You just have a very short memory, attention span. Maybe you need some DHA from omega-3 fatty acids to feed your brain. But now I would like to formally introduce my, even though I fought with him, my illustrious co-host and mentor for this show. It's my formal introduction. Excuse me. I'm piping aboard the captain of our pirate ship, the one and only, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. How are you feeling today, sir?
I'm very good today. I'm in good shape. I'm ready for all kinds of battles.
You're ready for any
battles? Yeah.
You're ready for any kind of action, just like Pedro Morales used to say in the old days of wrestling. I'm ready. Vince, I'm ready for any kind of action. I'm going to fight to the very last drop of blood.
Speaking of Vince
McMahon. Oh, Linda McMahon is running for something.
I saw her new commercial.
Lunchbox.
What the hell is she running for?
I don't know.
It's the same old, of course, but, you know.
Yeah. Let me guess. Is she a Republican?
Yes, she's a Republican.
That figures.
But it's not a governorship up, I don't believe. So what is she running for?
Vince McMahon, Donald Trump, and the ilk that, in their circle, all they care about is profit, the almighty dollar. So if you're not a deep thinker, an independent, free thinker, okay, with an open mind, you won't see through the fog. And I think that Vince is helping her campaign, because if his wife gets elected in any way, shape, or form, whether it be congresswoman, senator, or governor of Connecticut, being that the headquarters for the WWE happens to be in Stamford, Connecticut, ipso facto ergo, the company, WWE, will pay a lot less taxes or no taxes at all.
We'll be able to get laws through, to self-serving laws through.
State.
Like they always
right.
do.
That has to
like
do.
Mr. Cheney did while he was vice president.
Yeah, that has to do with the state of Connecticut, of course. Not on a even if Linda McMahon is running for a congresswoman or senator, it'll be on a national level. Just one extra Republican vote, and of course Republicans flat out refuse to tax the rich, but they love to tax the middle class. That they love.
They won't admit that.
That's no secret. Oh yeah, they talk about, corporations are the job creators and Democrats are the job killers.
Yeah, well,
oh yeah, they don't tell you that the jobs are created overseas.
12
that they don't tell you.
years speaking. Now we're going back to facts again, as compared to ideas and opinions.
Right.
We had 12 years of tax cuts.
Uh-huh.
Where are the jobs?
Yeah, true.
Fact is, it has nothing to do with job creating.
You mean
tax cuts
you
for
mean
the rich?
12 years of heavy-duty
We
tax
got 12
cuts
years of the Bush tax cuts.
on the rich, not on the middle class. Not on the middle class.
Yes, there were some taxes for the little people.
But there were crumbs. There were a few crumbs.
There were crumbs. But that's my point. Tax cuts only do one thing. They stop revenue from coming in to the government. Pure and simple. And that's what we've been suffering that for 32 years.
And then when the government and then when the government fails, the Republicans have somebody to blame.
Yes, not blame. They do it.
They say, see?
They cause the destruction. And then say, see? The government doesn't work. Like Mr. Reagan said, the 8 terrible words that he wants to hear. I'm from the government, and I'm here to help you.
So they sabotage.
That's correct.
The fact.
I never saw so many people who hate government and yet want to work for it.
Isn't that funny?
Ain't that something?
Because they want the benefits.
Oh.
They want to ride on the.
They want something.
They want to ride on the middle class's coattails, and take advantage of all those freebies and perks, and job security,
and get their buddies' laws put through.
Well, you saw that banner.
Like the Cheney law with the. And they put through a whole bunch of them, but the one particularly pertaining right now to fracking, the Clean Water Act was changed under Cheney to hey, Dad, don't worry about all them chemicals and everything that we put into the water. You turn on your faucet, whoa, flames coming out. That's due to Cheney.
Well, you remember occasionally reading a banner that mentions that even though Republicans, Republicans, even though they hate government programs and everything, they sure have a habit of utilizing programs from the government if it benefits them. They'll take advantage of programs.
Subsidies, yes.
Well, and other things.
Entitlements, no. Okay?
Subsidies and Wall Street bailouts are welfare for the rich. Wealthfare.
Now you got Mr. Sanford Weill, who was part of the problem way back when, to get Glass-Steagall Act repealed and etc., so that his big banky can make some risky bets and make some big dollars. Well, now he's got a book out, and now he's changed his tune.
Really?
Yeah, we now should go back to some of those laws and regulations that the smart people in 1933, under Mr. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, put into effect.
Yeah.
Oh, now we understand that those laws were pretty darn good.
They were outstanding. The Franklin Delano Roosevelt Second Bill of Rights would have solved all the problems we have today. Because guess what? The rich will fairly have the tax burden like they should. Like they should.
Anybody who makes money should pay taxes.
That's
what it was meant. That's what it was. 1913. That's why it was put into effect.
But isn't it amazing how the Republicans are always crying and taking tantrums like a bunch of babies when it comes to taxes? They freak out when they have to pay their fair share, and they're rich.
Well, actually, they don't pay their fair share.
The 1%. No, they don't pay anything.
They don't, because they, just like Mr. Romney, he's got his money offshore.
Oh, he's a greedy bastard if you've ever seen one.
I heard the figure today, I believe the figure was something like money outside the United States that could be taxed. I'm not even going to put a figure on it. It's just multiple tens of trillions of dollars. Bye-bye deficit.
And he still refuses to disclose his
of course he does, because
tax,
it will show what kind of a crumb bum he is. Okay?
His tax history.
So why should he do that? As long as he can get away with it. You know?
Well, it would sabotage his campaign, right?
Correct.
But yet they're busting Obama's balls about his birth certificate.
Still.
Oh,
that's
boy.
Another matter.
Such double standards.
See, this is another matter of what we're now going back to the macrobiotic debate. These are opinions. These are not based on any facts whatsoever. But they get into the lamestream media, and they get a life of their own. And then we go back to Mr. Goebbels. You know? Tell a lie big enough and long enough, and some of the people are going to believe it. And they do.
Well,
Revelation 12:9, the whole world is deceived.
Yeah, just
but
like
they do not know they are deceived.
Just like some poor and middle class Americans still believe that there are jobs out there if you look hard enough in America. Yeah, right.
Sure. Oh!
Billy Jr. just took a dive. Maybe it was.
Well, he's not gonna get any shot at the title then if he took a dive.
Maybe maybe the spirit of Ebenezer Scrooge and Jacob Marley tried to have something to say about the job, America's job market. No, they are not out there. They're overseas.
H1B, I bring it up.
The H1B
over 8 million
workers visa
brought in to replace high-paying Americans to take their jobs.
Not only that, if the job market was so good, like Republicans say they are, and foolish teabagger idiots that vote Republican that are not rich, middle-class fools, if the job market was so great, then why is there like 350,000 Americans with PhDs that can't find a job? Answer me that.
There is a strike going on now. I believe it's in Ohio. Caterpillar.
Oh, the construction machinery.
Right.
Okay.
They want their people, their union people, are out on strike. They want them to accept for the next 6 years.
Yeah.
No increases in pay.
For 6 years.
6 years.
Now, what's going to happen with the cost of living?
Well, they don't care about that. It's for their benefit. It'll help them compete with other companies.
Then, where is the so-called American dream that the right wing talks about? If the people don't get a cost of living increase,
a living wage,
and an increase to offset the cost of living in 6 years, then how are people going to live, and what's so special about America?
Nothing, because what is happening is the corporations, with their political lackeys, are bringing down the American standard of living so that it will be able to compete with the rest of the world. 32 cents an hour, and you know what? We'll be glad to do it. We'll be happy because then we can survive. We can survive. Hey, something went awfully wrong in America.
In a gutter, live in a refrigerator box. Now, who's this fat idiot from Nebraska that has a TV show? Is it Larry or Gary, the cable guy, or whatever the hell?
I think it's Larry the cable guy.
Larry the cable guy. Every time he annoys the crap out of me, man. Every time I see a promo for his show, he's going with his stupid accent. He's saying, you know, I just want to show everybody, you know, how great America is and all the wonderful things that America has to offer. He doesn't say anything negative about what's going on in the United States. It's how great everything is. Sure, because he's kissing sponsor ass because he has a TV show and he's getting paid a ton of money. Plus plus his wardrobe must be very cheap because he wears the same friggin' like.
Does he bend over and show the crack of his ass?
Almost. He has the same sleeveless shirt every time he does a show. Never changes his clothes.
Well, what does he say about high cable bills?
He's a right winger. He's a right winger. You know how many right wingers are posting pro-gun lobbying information?
Because you know why?
They're afraid they're going to have their guns taken away from them.
You know why?
Why?
Because they get paid. Some of them get paid. There are people that get paid to, when you go up to Wikipedia says something about somebody.
Right.
Now let's say you can change Wikipedia, okay? You can change it.
Oh, yes, sir.
So you go up there and you correct somebody's mistake about Wikipedia, and guess what?
What?
Some right-winger will be back there in 5 seconds and change it.
Real accuracy, Wikipedia. Yeah, real accurate website. But, this guy, Larry the Cable Guy, is always, Yankee Doodle Dandy, America's the best, America's number one, God bless America. We're self-righteous information, putting down the rest of the world. I mean, hey, what's going on with the fascist police state activity in Anaheim, California? They were
Gestapo.
They fired rubber bullets at peaceful protesters. One police officer sent an attack dog to attack a woman holding her baby. All right, a police dog attacked this woman. She was crying her eyes out, of course, and then 2 people died.
No, that had nothing to do with
That's separate, right?
Yeah. That's why they were protesting. Because the cops shot some guy in the back.
Is that because they're too lazy to chase down the perpetrator?
They eat too many donuts.
They can't run after the perpetrator running away. They have to shoot him in the back. I'm too lazy to run. I'm out of shape. I can't chase them down. You know what I'm saying? You know.
I saw. What the hell did I see?
But state troopers are in great shape, and a lot of county cops are really in great shape.
What did I see yesterday on Facebook? I believe I saw. I think it was Facebook. No, it was a video on some cop rendering some guy. He had a gun pointed at his back all the time, his head. He had, pushing him down and everything, and he's got a gun. And the guy's asking, "What the hell did I do? What did I do? What did I do?"
Yeah. Well, what about the cop that kicked the girl in the face? That was
what about the one
on the ground? The protester. I was on the ground.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's because we've militarized our cops. like we said, what was it, last week or whatever, what it says on their cars, to protect and serve. They protect and serve the big boys.
The 1%, the elitists. See, there's no disclaimer on there. There's no fine print.
Yeah. I'm sorry, we don't protect the middle class.
And the poor, or the poor.
And the poor.
And
we only protect gated communities.
And if you're a victim of poverty in America and you're homeless, we arrest you for what? Vagrants or something?
Yes.
So it's your fault.
Loitering, vagrant. What about that guy, the veteran that was sitting on a park bench reading a book?
What was wrong with that?
Nothing, but the cop arrested him.
You can't even sit on a park bench and read a book?
In a veterans park, by the way.
But this is supposed to be America. You can't sit on a park bench and read a book?
Pastors can't even feed the poor.
So why don't they just call it the fascist states of America? Just change the name. You can't feed the homeless anymore.
You know, I heard something.
They don't want the homeless to eat. I guess the Republicans want the poor to die.
Call the herd.
They want to call the herd. They want the poor to die. Is that why they took off that Jesse Ventura conspiracy theory episode about the FEMA camps? That was the first to be removed?
You know, I'm not clear on any of this, so don't quote me on it, but
Okay.
I heard the other day that the agenda for those FEMA camps has been changed.
Really?
Yeah.
What about the barbed wire that was around the FEMA camp? Why did they... Jesse asked them, why do you need this barbed wire?
Keep people out? Or
They
to keep
said
people in?
it's to protect the people that are inside. Protect them from what?
Who knows?
Keep people in. Like prisoners, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, even Franklin Roosevelt in World War II, he rounded up something like 240,000 Japanese, put them in concentration camps. Afraid they were spies.
Japanese Americans, but did they round up Italian Americans? Because Mussolini is Italian? Did they round up
No,
German
because at that time,
German Americans?
at that time in America, fascism was liked. It was liked.
At that time?
The big boys, they loved Mussolini and fascism. At that time, General Schmedley Butler was tapped to try to become an American dictator. They were going to get rid of Franklin Delano Roosevelt and put Schmedley Butler in charge.
Well, didn't he...
A friendly dictator.
Friendly, yeah. Didn't he say war is a racket?
War is a racket. Yes, he found out about it and he tried to expose it to Congress. And Congress did not act.
So his history tells us that rich people in a capitalist society love and embrace fascism because it makes them a lot more money, right?
It allows them to be in charge.
Power.
Moolah.
All right.
Oligarchy.
Oligarchy, a corporate plutocracy, a feudalistic oligarch. This is what the right-wing conservatives want, people. So wake up. Don't believe the Tea Party lies, the Tea-evangelists, the Tea-publicans. Don't believe the Republican lies. We've been talking so much. It's almost time for Dr. Bill's lunch, but do you have a real juicy article that you can knock off before your break? It's amazing how time
I
flies.
don't know about juicy.
Well, I mean, something...
Definition of treason. Number 1.
Okay.
A violation of allegiance to one's sovereign or to one's state. 2. The betrayal of a trust or confidence. Breach of faith, treachery. 3. The offense of acting to overthrow one's government. This Congress has vowed not to cooperate with our duly elected president. Its members are willing to bring our beloved America to its knees economically in order to take back the White House. In my opinion, they are guilty of treason and should be punished accordingly.
Well, they like to blame the little guy, accuse the little guy of treason when he doesn't approve of what the government is doing, what the political leaders are doing. So why can't they be accused of treason for not cooperating? Bipartisanship bullshit.
That's not even the issue. You got a guy, Grover Norquist, getting all of the Congress, Republicans in Congress, to sign a no tax pledge, and he makes no bones of the fact that they want to shrink the U.S. government down to the size where it can be drowned in a bathtub.
They have an agenda.
Is that not treason?
Yes. Yes.
Then let's call it what it is, and let's call out those idiots.
But you know we have a double standard with people that are in power or wealthy compared to the average folk of the mainstream. You know, it's our balloon boy over here in New Jersey, our beloved balloon boy, the mean-spirited, greedy, stingy, gluttonous ogre, the governor Crisco Christie, is starting to run his re-election campaign commercials. And he mentions all the wonderful accomplishments he has, like cutting wasteful spending in New Jersey. Oh, sure. Taking social programs away from the poor and the homeless is, I guess in his mind, is wasteful spending.
That's correct.
And laying off teachers and whatever is waste.
Giving millionaires a tax break is not wasteful spending.
But you know what he says about his accomplishments? There's one key word that I was laughing my head off. He kept on saying over and over again, bipartisan efforts. They're all bipartisan accomplishments. Like, what he's trying to say is that the Democrats in Trenton, New Jersey were agreeing with him on everything he did. So, like, everybody was agreeing with Chris Christie. Bipartisan efforts, bipartisan accomplishments. It's a lie. There's no bipartisan when it comes to Republicans. They don't want bipartisanship.
Bipartisanship is like date rape.
Yeah.
They believe. Okay?
Then why do Democrats constantly seek bipartisanship?
Because they're wimps.
They have no backbone.
That's correct.
They still want the Republicans to like them, to love them.
They can sit together on the beach with a fire and sing Kumbaya.
It's a pipe dream. It's never going to happen. Forget about it. It's never going to happen. And this is, you know what? I'm glad that Nancy Pelosi's got a little more spunk nowadays, and she's more venomous than when she was Speaker of the House, right?
Yeah. Well, she don't get any FaceTime.
Oh yeah. Well, when people speak the truth, the American media does not give FaceTime to those individuals. Now, do you have another?
Stingrays.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk politics. All right, go ahead.
Forced lifeguards to call swimmers out of the water at a New Jersey beach for the second day in a row.
Not jellyfish, stingrays.
About 15 to 30 stingrays were spotted in the shallow water near the beach in Lock Harbor.
Cock Harbor?
Lock.
Oh, Lock.
Lifeguard Todd Ganghamer said the decision was made to close the beach.
What a name.
On Tuesday, swimmers were ordered out of the ocean because of stingrays in Spring Lake. There also were unconfirmed reports of two possible shark sightings in Spring Lake on Monday.
Well, there's been a lot more shark sightings near shore, and it might have something to do with this extra warm summer we've been having, perhaps. More varieties of sea life are coming in closer. You know, there's a lot of strange things happening with the planet. And I was reading from
Anything.
news from London, England, that the polls have already shifted, and the American news media did not tell the American people this information. The polls have shifted a little bit already.
What about Greenland?
From earthquakes. And what about the Greenland ice sheet from the satellite view? It's gone. Excuse me.
Greenland is melting.
It's melting. The satellite view, it proves it. So there's a lot of things happening, but for some reason the American media does not want to tell the people, and they keep the American people in the dark.
They want to keep the horse race in the presidential election.
They want to, yeah.
You know, it's all a horse race. Horse race.
It's all about, the capitalism is the devil's economics. It's all about greed. It's all about the bottom line. They don't want to educate you as far as other things, as far as the truth. They don't want to do that. They want to keep your mind on just how bad Barack Obama is with the lies, so you vote for that idiot Mitt Romney.
Mitt and Romney.
Yeah, Mitt. Anyway, now it's time for Dr. Bill's gastronomic delight known as lunch, and then we will come back with promo and continue with the articles here on Progressive Discussions. Oh yeah, I'm telling you, I've never seen, between the drought we have here in America, you know, and how it's hurting the farmers, agriculture, and the heat wave, and by the way, the polls shifted from the major earthquake that the world had recently, and the earthquake in Chile also jerked the planet Earth ahead on its axis, you know, in the revolution. So I didn't know that major earthquakes can actually move the planet. You know, like a major earthquake in one country can actually do something to change the Earth. It's really scary stuff, man. Well, Reverend Bill, ever since I did that show, the Chiseler's Hall of Shame for regional food and drink, there has been many comments posted concerning the owners of Maui's Doghouse in Wildwood, New Jersey. You know, the owners, Mike and Liz of Maui's Doghouse, a Jersey Shore resort hot dog joint, about, you know, what happened to Hot Dog Nation when the bus tour stopped there, and the owners, Mike and Liz, flat out refused to give glasses of ice water to their customers that wanted ice water. They wanted them to buy bottled water from them, and you know, like all Jersey Shore resort food vendors, they get a high price for their hot dogs, naturally. Highway robbery. I mean, I can imagine if it's anything like Seaside Heights or Point Pleasant Beach, you know, over $5 for a hot dog, give me a break. I'm
so
sure.
Whatever happened to the customer is always right.
What, like I said when I did Chiseler's Hall of Shame, what if the customer doesn't feel like having soft drink? What if they're diabetic? What if they, you know, sometimes when you're really thirsty in a hot summer day, sometimes you just want an ice cold glass of water. Sometimes you want water, and you know, and the guy was such an ingrate, you know, disrespecting his customers, such a stingy, greedy person that, you know, he called his customers cheap on the internet for wanting a glass of ice water and not purchasing his bottled water.
What happened to the days of S&H green stamps?
Well, I mean, one gentleman made a good point. He says, when you go to a restaurant, don't they bring you ice water for free? Sometimes a good restaurant should bring you ice water and keep refilling it without you asking for it.
They bring you a bread basket.
Yes. And a good restaurant will bring you the hot bread and butter without you asking for it, with the ice water, and keep it filled. I mean, anytime I used to eat in
Or like IHOP, what was that? Never-ending cup of coffee? Not that I drink coffee.
no, they're pretty good about refilling the. Well, what they do is they bring a pitcher of coffee in a thermos, like a thermal pitcher, carafe, whatever the hell you want to call it. Yeah. So yeah, so it's really nitpicky for this Mike and Liz, you know, of Maui's Doghouse. I mean, it's really sad to see that kind of contempt for one's customers be displayed. He should change his name to Mike Hunt as the last name. Mike Hunt. Say that real fast.
Mike Hunt.
It's
that
really
used to be the title of a porno book, a little porno book from France.
really
Cost 500 francs.
not Frankfurters from Hot Dog Nation.
And
We're
that
talking
was the
about
name,
the old money, France.
that was the name of the girl in the book.
Michelle.
Mike Hunt.
So it must be Michelle.
And she did make that joke.
Oh,
Say it fast.
Mike Hunt.
Mike Hunt.
That really drives women crazy when they hear that word. That's like kryptonite was to Superman. That that really upsets them. But anyway, this Mike
Hunt.
and Liz of Maui's Doghouse in Wildwood, New Jersey, that is very disrespectful to your customers and contemptuous, and that's being very, very petty and nitpicky. It's only damn ice water, for God's sakes. I mean, look at how much people are paying for the damn hot dogs. Tube steaks, a processed meat with a little roadkill thrown in there, you know, with a lot of toppings on it. I mean,
And 3% rat shit.
on a white bun. I mean, and you know what he did? Somebody posted something to me saying, I don't know what it's like to run my own business with the overhead and everything. How much overhead?
How the hell can you run a business and hope to stay in business if you demean your customers?
And his overhead, his staff. I guarantee you, this Italian American guy Mike and his wife Liz, I guarantee you, he's paying his people most likely minimum wage.
Speaking of Italians, what's an Italian fog called?
I give up.
A bigamist.
A bigamist. Well,
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be here all week.
Well, there are, you know, I'm Italian American myself, but you know, I see a lot of faults in my own people, and I admit them. You know, there was an Italian joke when I was in high school. How come Italians usually how come Italians have trouble committing suicide? Because they can't jump out of a basement window. You know, it comes from the joke where Italians would turn their living room into a perfect museum where nobody hung out, only guests that come on a Sunday. You know, that nobody lived in there, and they lived in a furnished basement instead. They watched TV, they ate in the basement. So that, you know, it's like it's the same joke about like with Everybody Loves Raymond, the show where the Italians put plastic covering on their sofas so the sofa would last forever. You know, same thing. Italian, Jewish, they have many of the same habits. Some stereotypes are based on fact. Some fact. I hate to say it, but it's true. But anyway, that's it. I don't want to give too much face time for Maui's Doghouse, but I think it's a bad move on his part, especially to call his customers cheap on the internet for wanting a free glass of water. Oh my God, a free glass of water. It's going to set Mike back so much. Uncalled for. And of course, last night I gave my veggie burger recipe. on the Holistic Health Talk, volume, I think it was volume 24 with Dan E. Mount. And it was a big success, sir. You know, I took the amaranth and quinoa and millet and bulgur wheat and flax meal, and I pretty much dry toasted it, and then I boiled it down to a very thick porridge, and let it chill in the refrigerator, and then I was able to mold it into perfect burgers, and I fried it, and then I put it in the freezer. So it was a big success. Of course, I used a special, I put sea salt, garlic powder, and I used a special Indian curry masala, which is for vegetarian recipes. It was called Pav Bhaji, I believe, P-A-V-B-H-A-J-I, Pav Bhaji. It's a marsala curry for vegetarian recipes, and it was very aromatic. When you smelled it, I mean, let's put it this way: if they made a cologne out of it, it would be pretty good. It really was nice. It's not hot and overpowering as far as spiciness. It was just very flavorful, and I put a moderate amount. I didn't go overboard, but it was a great thing. So the success of Chiseler's Hall of Shame, including my Medusa Hall of Shame, which are females that have many undesirable traits. I have a list there, and also the success of my veggie burger recipe, very highly nutritional density. I want to celebrate those two things because there's not much to celebrate nowadays in 2012. New Year's Eve noisemaker. All right. I only use that when something really positive is stated. So how you doing with your lunch? It's good?
It's filling. It's filling.
That's what I say when I go. Well, the good thing about going to my local buffet is I say it's filling, it's reasonably priced, and I get to eat a lot of good seafood cheap. I would never go to a sit down or stand up whatever seafood restaurant again. You know, I mean, you go to a seafood restaurant nowadays, you're paying $20 for one portion, for one entree. It's insane, you know.
And
it's insane, man. And the atmosphere included. Yeah.
As they have shown on the news lately, what you order, you may not get.
Oh.
People order red snapper, they get tilapia. Same thing in the supermarkets.
What about...
You think you're buying one fish, you're getting something else.
What about when the word scallop is on the menu, especially in Chinese takeout joints, it says scallops, and I always ask them, come on, seriously, are these real scallops or are these the imitation? You know, the imitation crab meat, they mold it into a round shape. It's mostly pollock, which is a cheap cod. You know, what they serve you in, you know, the filet of fish sandwich in McDonald's and Mrs. Paul's frozen dinners, Gorton's, they all use pollock because it's a cheap cod. It's cheap. So they take pollock, they put in some crab flavoring and add some other fillers, and they, you know, it's like a turkey roll or chicken roll with seafood. And then they mold them into scallops. And if you don't ask them, they won't tell you. And they go, you know, they have to tell you the truth because they don't want to get in trouble. So they say, no, it's fake. It's the artificial, you know, sea lake supreme crab meat that's molded into a scallop. But as far as what Dr. Bill said about one fillet being served to a customer once it's breaded and fried or broiled, that is very true. Because I saw a fish market selling hake and calling it haddock. Now, hake is a very tasty, very beautiful.
That's a stingray, isn't
I'm
it?
going to tell you what hake is. No, you're thinking of skate.
Oh, steak.
Skate. Or like pout is conger eel, if you want to know. But hake is a codfish. Inexpensive, $2.99 a pound, give or take, codfish. But it's like pollock is also a cheap cod, but pollock has like white and dark spots. Hake has a beautiful light pink color, great flavor, but it's cheap.
Like a perch.
But haddock is, I would say, the most expensive of all the cods, of all the members of the cod family. And they were selling hake as haddock, and everybody was fooled. But I know what haddock fillet looks like, raw, because I worked with seafood for over 10 years. I know what hake looks like. And they were screwing the public. The establishment, unfortunately, I have to say, it was owned by Italian Americans. You know, it's really terrible how some people, you know, the words ill-gotten gains. And I'm not just blaming small companies, mom and pop stores. I'm blaming corporations. They have no conscience when they lie to the public.
Well, we just saw that with the financial meltdown, didn't we?
No conscience whatsoever, stealing from people.
Yeah.
And, you know, they were selling hake as haddock, and there's a big difference in price. You know, I mean, haddock is like almost $10 a pound, and you got hake, which is $2.99, $3.99 a pound. You know, human beings are such vile creatures. Unbelievable. You done?
I don't know.
All right, let me just wait. Oh, it's really shameful.
All right, I think I'm done.
It's really shameful. Capitalism is the devil's economics. You want to know?
Yes. Yes, it is. About time people start recognizing it.
You want another one of these, sir? Just in case? Yep. It is without a doubt the devil's economics. Now, it is so wicked that, you know, it's almost like, you know, when the fascist corporate controlled government talks to the people, they might as well just use the evil voices of those aliens in that, what was that? That's one of the...
Battlestar Galactica.
Was that, remember Battlestar Galactica? That was Gil Gerard, right?
No, that was...
Buck Rogers.
Buck Rogers.
Aaron Gray. Battlestar Galactica was a great TV series. And
Lorne Green.
Huh?
Lorne Green.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Battlestar.
Now, what were the
that one guy who played that California cop when that cop show with the two of them in the car?
Oh, Adam 12? No.
I think that was it.
He was in it?
They had the two guys in the car?
It wasn't Chips. It wasn't Eric Estrada on the motorcycle.
No. It was, I think, Adam 12.
Adam 12.
Black-haired guy.
Now, what was the name of the wicked aliens on Battlestar Galactica?
The
you
Cylons.
The Cylons? So, tell me, I'll try to do a robotic voice.
We have come to kill you. That's how they sounded. That's how they sounded.
We have come to kill you. Any other things the Cylons said?
And one of the Cylons was called Lucifer.
Couldn't they come up with an original name?
And he had he was different than the other ones. He had a flashing thing on top of his head. And what happened was the Cylons, they got Baltar. Baltar was like Lorne Green, captain of a ship or whatever.
Okay.
And they got him, and they made him a big cheese as long as he helped them destroy the other humans.
Dr. Bill has
That's what he did.
Dr. Bill has an outstanding memory for sci-fi
Ooh.
movies and series. And hold on. We are here to kill you. They weren't the aliens that wrote the cookbook How to Serve Humans? Or was that the Twilight song?
No, that's the V. That's V.
We are here to kill you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Elvis has left the building.
Oh, man. Okay, back to the articles. We are here to kill you. That's kind of what they're saying to the
Didn't
poor.
you do promo?
Oh, shit.
Oh my
I
God.
forgot about promo.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh, my gosh.
this is important, ladies and gentlemen.
I know. I'm too
The
busy.
newsletter. You
I'm
know,
too busy doing shtick. This gentleman next to me that kind of fell down earlier is a self-portrait of the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, because the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is a fine watercolor and gouache artist. You can see the William J. Eisenman collection by going to your browser and typing in William J. Eisenman collection, Megalife 21, and you'll see the whole slideshow to Caribbean steel drum music. It's about 99.9999% of his paintings. If you see something you like, okay, we also have the album on the Facebook newsletter censored page. If you see something you like, email Dr. Bill at newslettercensored.com and ask him if the painting is available, and if it is, you can acquire a real painting signed by Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. Bidding starts at $500 each. Okay, here we have the very foundation of our entire organization, Newsletter Censored. Okay, it contains the 5 taboos of American life, which is politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing. There is nothing like Newsletter Censored out there in the mainstream media or the mainstream press. This is the very foundation and backbone of our organization. This is the very best way to join our organization. So do it now. Go to newslettercensored.com, click on the printable order form, and with your gift to support this work, get your free annual subscription to Newsletter Censored. It was founded in 1977 by my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. We are living in the end times. You need Newsletter Censored to learn how to defeat a conservative. You need Newsletter Censored to learn what the Bible really has to say, for real. Okay, and then last but not least, this is the new issue. You have, as a bonus, Sexuality, A Holistic Approach by William J. Eisenman. And this is the new issue, volume 120, titled Screwed, by William J. Eisenman, PhD. And then, of course, The God Project with William J. Eisenman, Doctor of Divinity, is in here. So there's more information in this newsletter than there is on our websites or talk shows. Get Newsletter Censored. You need Newsletter Censored. And then over here, I just want to show a photograph of the patron saint of all right-wing conservative Republicans. This is their idol, Ronald Reagan, the late Ronald Reagan, and this is Ronald Reagan's Reaganomics from the 1980s. Trickle-down Reaganomics, and you see Ronald Reagan urinating on America, which is exactly what trickle-down economics is. It's pissle-down economics. It's actually siphon up to the 1%, to the elitist economics. That's the truth about it. And that's the hero, the patron saint of all right-wing Republicans, is Ronald Reagan. Trickle-down economics. See? That's what it really is. Okay, now we can go to the articles.
Doctors have successfully dropped the first smart bomb on breast cancer,
Really?
using a drug to deliver a toxic payload to tumor cells while leaving healthy ones alone.
Mm-hmm.
In a key test involving nearly 1,000 women with very advanced disease, The experimental treatment extended by several months the time women lived without their cancer getting worse. Well, yeah, but it didn't cure the cancer.
Yeah, well, what's...
See?
Yeah, what good is that?
Lived without their cancer getting worse. Doctors plan to report today at a cancer conference in Chicago. More importantly, the treatment seems likely to improve survival. It will take more time to know for sure. After 2 years, 65% of women who received it were still alive, versus 47% of those in a comparison group, given to standard cancer drugs. That margin fell just short of the very strict criteria researchers set for stopping the study and declaring the new treatment a winner. And they hope the benefit becomes more clear with time.
Right.
In fact, so many women on the new treatment are still alive that researchers cannot yet determine average survival for the group. The absolute difference is greater than 1 year in how these people live. How long? A warning to hopeful patients. The drug is still experimental, so not available yet. Its backers hope it can reach the market within a year. The treatment builds on Herceptin, the first gene-targeted therapy for breast cancer. It is used for about 20% of patients whose tumors overproduce a certain protein. Researchers combined Herceptin with a chemotherapy so toxic that it can't be given by itself, plus a chemical to keep the two linked until they reach a cancer cell, where the poison can be released to kill it. This double weapon, called the T as in Thomas, D as in dog, M as in Michael, 1. TDM1 is the smart bomb. Although it's actually not all that smart. Herceptin isn't a homing device, just a substance that binds to breast cancer cells once it encounters them. Doctors tested TDM1 in 991 women with widely spread breast cancer that was getting worse despite treatment with chemotherapy and ordinary Herceptin. They were given either TDM1 infusions every 3 weeks or infusions of Xaloda plus daily T-Curb pills, the only other treatments approved for such cases. The median time until cancer got worse was nearly 10 months in the women given TDM1 versus just over 6 months for the others. That is about the same magnitude of benefit initially seen with Herceptin, which later proved to improve overall survival. It doesn't sound too promising to me. Okay, but that's just my opinion.
Well, what's promising to me are the many miraculous herbs and spices and plants that have a very powerful effect on cancer cells and tumors, like curcumin in turmeric, and as well as other extracts that work very well against cancer. Green tea is one of them, and the list goes on and on. Even ginger has, Gary Knowles said, destroys pancreatic cancer cells. But you have to take these in the proper therapeutic amounts. They have to be taken in the right amounts, not in small health maintenance amounts, but in therapeutic amounts. It has to be a anti-cancer protocol from a qualified practitioner. So.
I am often angered,
Right.
sometimes amused by Democrats' deliberate abuse or misuse of language in interpreting the Constitution. According to the letter writer, the primary definition of treason is violation of allegiance to one sovereign or state. By that definition, any German who resisted Hitler was guilty of treason. The writer states that Congress has vowed not to cooperate with the president.
Didn't you read that? Oh, that's the second one, right?
This is the answer to that letter.
Oh, okay.
This is the right wing.
Oh, okay.
This is the right wing answer to that letter.
Oh, all right.
The writer states that Congress has vowed not to cooperate with the president. When was such a vote taken? Now you see, here's a guy, obviously, never heard Mitch McConnell say it out loud.
Oh, the turtle head.
The turtle.
Bitch McConnell. He looks like a turtle. He's got the head of and face. He's got the face of a turtle.
But anyway, since this guy obviously never heard that,
Bitch McConnell.
here
Bitch.
he is offering us his opinion
Uh-huh.
on a matter he knows nothing about.
Right.
Which happens very often, of course. When was such a vote taken? And by what margin did it pass? The framers did not design Congress as a presidential rubber stamp. They designed it as a deliberative body, voted in by the electorate to pass judgment on the sitting president's proposals. No president is Hammurabi. Finally, taking back the White House is what every out-of-power party has attempted since Thomas Jefferson ran against John Adams in 1800. Now, that's not treason. It's the American way. Republicans are engaged in a brilliant and potentially successful campaign to win the presidency.
So, ill-gotten gains, they use the excuse, it's the American way. Corruption, dishonesty, lies.
Wherever, however you make a buck is a good thing.
So the American way, the part of the conservative propaganda, the lies, is that the American way is a great way, is the best way, and that's part of the propaganda. And it has to do with the bottom line, profit before the planet, profit before people, profit before everything. That's the American way, but they glamorize it. They glorify it, rather. They glorify it and make it seem like a good way.
They make a god of it.
They make a god of it, but it's actually the devil's economics.
First, they block every action President Obama suggests to help the economy, even those that would immediately create jobs and that they had supported in years past. Notwithstanding their own conduct, they blame Obama for not getting anything done. Then they simply lie about facts such as their claim that Obamacare will create a middle-class tax. In fact, the experience of the Massachusetts health care plan, on which the federal law is based, shows that any tax will affect only 1% of those who are freeloading on the system. They lie about the president's personal beliefs, saying that he does not believe in American exceptionalism when he has cited American exceptionalism in numerous speeches. They lead others to believe that he's not really a Christian. All of this implying that he is not really a true American. They throw out words such as socialist, when in reality the president is more like a moderate Republican of years past. Finally, just in case all these strategies fail, they pass laws that would disqualify legitimate voters in areas where there is heavy Democratic turnout. This campaign subverts the values on which this country was founded.
Wow. Interesting.
The Brookings Institution is the latest open borders advocacy organization to release a report that claims that the United States needs more foreign-born workers. Brookings titled its paper The Skills Search. A primary school student of average intelligence knows that when 20 million Americans are either unemployed or underemployed, the last thing they need is to compete with overseas workers
that are working for a lot less money than what Americans require.
Nevertheless,
H-1B visas.
despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary, Washington, D.C. based think tanks that depend almost exclusively on the biased input of employers and globalists published endless reams of research calling for more non-immigrant worker visas, mostly the H-1B. Every analysis misleadingly insists that the United States has a shortage of science, technology, engineering, and math graduates.
You know how many Americans have those credentials that can't find a job?
350,000.
With PhDs, yeah.
Much more, of course, but that's the figure we know about.
So, but they don't want to pay them what they're supposed to be getting. So they import. Instead of outsourcing, it's like the opposite. No, it's not the opposite. It's synonymous with outsourcing American jobs, importing H-1B visa professionals.
But what it all amounts to is self-serving interest
It's totally in the name of greed.
in the name of the corporations.
And corporations.
Yeah.
Yes. Greed.
Consider Brookings.
Evil.
On July 18, Brookings held a panel discussion, supposedly to discuss the nationwide geographic distribution of H-1Bs, but in reality to urge liberalized H-1B visa regulations. The underlying theme was, as I suggested above, employers tell us we need more H-1B, so that must be the case.
They don't say we need more engineers and professionals. They just say we need more H-1Bs.
Yeah. Because that way we can pay them less. But Brookings rigged the panelists. Among the 11 who appeared, only one defended American workers and spoke critically about the H-1B visa visa. Predictably, he was shouted down as xenophobic, anti-immigrant, and fringe. Conferences like those at Brookings give the appearance of being serious academic exercises. But they ignore the cold, hard facts, even though conflicting data is readily available to them.
That's like somebody playing the race card. You know what I mean? Yeah, they
Well,
use
the deck
that.
is stacked.
Or anti-Semitism. They do the same.
Okay.
All right. Israel, Netanyahu did all these bad things over there, and if you disagree or you bash him, you're anti-Semite. They race card, the same thing. Now they're calling people xenophobic, right? Which has nothing to do with Xena, warrior princess.
A week before Brookings convened,
Yeah.
the Washington Post published United States pushes for more scientists, but jobs aren't there, which detailed how tough it is for these graduates to find a career path job, PhD, university professorship, and eventually their own labs. The Post summed up its findings in one quote from Jim Austin, editor of Science Careers. It seems awfully hard for people to find a job. Anyone who goes into science expecting employers to clamor for their services will be deeply disappointed. The Post described the jobs market as a bloodbath and attributed to slash and burn mergers, stagnating profits,
Right.
outsourcing to India and China. Scads and scads, qualified people with PhDs from elite institutions cannot find work. In the unlikely event that Brookings missed the Post story, two other credible sources published hard supporting numbers. First, CNET, the premier tech review source, reported that during the first half of 2012, more than 50,000 planned job cuts were announced across the IT sector, which represented a 260% increase over the 14,308 layoffs during the first half of 2011. The 2012 figure, a three-year high, is 39% greater than the aggregate job cuts recorded in the 12 months of 2011. Second, the nonpartisan Center for Immigration Studies, a Washington neighbor of Brookings, found in its report, "Is President Obama right about engineers?" that there are 101,000 unemployed U.S.-born individuals with engineering degrees.
I believe it.
On top of that, CIS research director Stephen Camarota discovered another 68,000 U.S.-born individuals with advanced degrees not in the labor force, as well as 489,000 with graduate degrees who work but not as engineers.
Interesting.
They may be flipping hamburgers at McDonald's.
I've heard that before. People with superior resumes ending up as hamburger flippers at a fast food establishment. Absolute disgrace. But they got to pay the bills,
Brookings didn't invite CNET reporter Don Reisinger or Camarota to its symposium. More important, no one from Brookings challenged either Reisinger or Camarota's employment data, even though both were widely distributed. Despite the facts the Post, CNET, and CIS presented, the all-court press for more H-1B visas intensifies. As of this writing, 15 bills to increase, eliminate, or liberalize non-immigrant visa regulations are pending on Capitol Hill. Meanwhile, the greatest jobs crisis since the Great Depression deepens. Okay?
It's just a shame that a very ancient
Now I have a question.
sin in human nature has caused all of this to happen to the United States.
I have a question.
Yes.
It happens often. In not just this, but all kinds of things. Why is it that the right-wing propaganda is always out there, gets so much play,
Yes.
FaceTime,
Correct.
etc.? It's wrong, but there it is. And the truth or the objections to it, you don't hear.
Yeah. What happened to
You don't hear
what,
them.
what happened?
Where's this liberal bias in the media?
I was just going to say that. Where is this so-called liberal bias in the media? If only the right-wing conservatives get FaceTime in the American media, then where is the liberal bias? Can't be. It's a myth.
Of course, it's a myth,
It's a
but
myth.
the problem is that these myths that the right wing tells and gets FaceTime for and everything, they just mushroom
Yeah, it's like because the sponsors are the corporations, and they control the media. That these news people get paid from sponsor money, and they have to walk a straight line, and march to their drums. Unfortunately, and
But it just seems that people are more willing to believe a lie than they are the truth.
absolutely.
Because you will see, and pick any genre, any place, and go back in history. Look in history, and the truth, like Galileo, Kepler, on and on and on. The truth teller is ostracized, is excommunicated, put in a house arrest.
Yeah.
He just doesn't get the supporters.
And if you tell the accurate
of the Bible,
historic
yes. Same thing.
documentation about people that bucked heads with the Roman Catholic Church, like Martin Luther, and how the Middle Ages, the Catholic Church of the Middle Ages were anti-science, and they tried to oppress Leonardo da Vinci and Galileo and possibly Copernicus and everything. And if you talk about the 50 million that were murdered by the Catholic Church, then all of a sudden all these people come out of the woodwork that are pro Catholic Church, telling you that you're lying. So they don't embrace the truth.
The Pope speaks for Jesus. He is the vicar of Christ, and he is infallible.
Oh yeah, but he's a human being. He's There's
a fight going on right now in the Vatican.
Flesh and blood human being. Yeah.
There are nuns in the Vatican who are taking care of the poor. And the Pope and the others don't like it very much.
Oh, really?
They should be concentrating more on abortion, gays, marriage.
That reminds me of
secular humanism.
Now think about this, people. This reminds me a lot. What you just said, that statement, reminds me a lot of right-wing Republicans, conservatives in the United States that care a lot more about the fetus than they do about the child that's already born. The poor child is worthless if he happens to be low income or poor. Oh, he's worthless. But when he's a fetus, they care a lot about it. Doesn't that sound similar to what the Pope and the Vatican said to the nuns? You should be concentrating on these issues like abortion and gay bashing and gay marriages, and not help the poor.
Yes.
And helping the poor is a very Christian thing to do, isn't it?
Absolutely, but no one,
and it's commanded by the Bible,
in his right mind has ever accused the Roman Catholic Church of being Christian, because it has never been.
But sir, even right-wing fundamentalist zealot Christians in the United States vote Republican and feel the same way. So there's a connection between right-wing fundamentalist zealots in the United States and the statements made by the Roman Catholic Church. There's a connection.
Well, they came out of it. Everything you know today as Protestant came out of the early Roman Catholic.
Right-wing fundamentalism,
correct,
in Christianity came out of the Roman Catholic Church, and even
counterfeit Christianity.
Counterfeit Christianity, which is a cult. Now, what about the Muslim extremists? Could they be called right-wing fundamentalists?
Absolutely.
Also,
right wing has nothing to do with any religion.
No.
It has to do with authoritarianism, totalitarianism.
Mixing
the rule from the top down.
Combining church with state, combining religion,
correct,
with the government, and they also want to combine corporations with the government.
It's already there.
Fascism, right-wing fundamentalism, fascism. They're all connected. They're all connected. What's going
They're
on?
all authoritarians, those kind of people.
What's going on now with Monsanto trying to control the world's food supply and the New World Order? It's all connected to the right wing, right?
Well, it's all connected to those who want to have power and rule from the top down. Democracy rules from the bottom up.
Uh-huh.
So those people are authoritarians.
They're plutocrats, right?
Oh, there's
Oligarch,
many
yeah.
names for them. You know, who's in charge? Oligarchs, plutocrats. But they are authoritarian
Right, and they're
in
also
their nature.
and they're elitists, and they feel they're better than the mainstream. They're better.
Well,
than
obviously,
the poor.
that's why they get their authoritarianism. I in control.
Yeah.
I will tell you what is best for you and what to do.
Now,
It's authoritarianism.
just out of curiosity, Dr. Bill, are you in favor with the current electoral college, or do you like just the
No.
popular vote?
Popular vote.
Popular vote should come back, should take over.
And make sure the vote is fair.
Aha! Not tampered with.
None of these machines that can be hacked.
Like what happened with Jebby Bush that time in Florida. I want to quickly salute my very fast growing Facebook group, Holistic Health Talk. I'm very proud of the members there, and also Regional Food and Drink, which is owned by my good friend Mr. Red Rooster, and Honest Craft Beer Reviews, which is owned by John Starodomsky, and of course my group, which is fitness related, based on Indian and Persian club swinging, which is the meal ticket, spelled MEEL. I want to salute all those groups and say hi to everybody. And don't forget to check out Dr. Bill for President. He ran before, he's running again as a progressive independent. Go to newslettercensor.com and check out Dr. Bill for President, and he will teach you how you can write in a candidate and how we need to get the money out of politics, and that will get the corruption out of politics. Dr. Bill's running for a third time, okay? But mostly I want to say hi to the groups, Holistic, and particularly Holistic Health Talk, and Regional Food and Drink, where you would see my shows, the Chiseler's Hall of Shame. Okay, now, do we have one last heavy-duty article for this week?
The ranks of America's poor are on track to climb to levels unseen in nearly half a century.
Wow, that's a heavy-duty article.
Erasing gains from the war on poverty in the 1960s amid a weak economy and fraying government safety net. Census figures for 2011 will be released this fall in the critical weeks ahead of the November elections. The Associated Press surveyed more than a dozen economists, think tanks, and academics, both nonpartisan and those with a known liberal or conservative leanings, and found a broad consensus. The official poverty rate will rise from 15.1% in 2010, climbing as high as 15.7%. Several predicted a more modest gain, but even a 0.1 percentage point increase would put poverty at the highest levels since 1965.
Wow.
Thank you, George W. Bush. Poverty is spreading at record levels across many groups, from underemployed workers and suburban families to the poorest poor. More discouraged workers are giving up on the job market, leaving them vulnerable as unemployment aid begins to run out. Suburbs are seeing increases in poverty, including in such battleground states as Colorado, Florida, Nevada, where voters are coping with a new norm of living hand to mouth. I grew up going to Hawaii every summer. Now I'm here applying for assistance because it's hard to make ends meet. It's very hard to adjust, said Laura Fritz, 27, of Wheat Ridge, Colorado, describing her slide from rich to poor as she filled out aid forms at a county center. Since 2000, large swaths of Jefferson County, just outside Denver, have seen poverty nearly double. She says she grew up wealthy in the Denver suburb of Highlands Ranch, but fortunes turned after her parents lost a significant amount of money in the housing bust. Stuck in a $500,000 house, her parents began living off food stamps, and Fritz's college money evaporated. She tried joining the Army, was injured during basic training. Now she's living on disability with an infant daughter and a boyfriend, 25, who can't find work as a landscaper. They're struggling to pay their $650 rent on his unemployment checks.
The landscapers in northeastern New Jersey, they have all
She's in Colorado.
they have all Hispanic immigrants
Well, you actually
working
no,
for them.
Actually, Colorado, God's country. I mean, what the hell do you need a landscaper for? Ain't it beautiful already?
Well, you know, maybe we're talking about the trimming the hedges and cutting the grass, and you know, they have lawns in Colorado.
$650 rent. It's pretty dang cheap.
Now, if you live in Arizona or New Mexico, you don't have to worry about cutting the grass because it's all pebbles and sand and cacti.
Well, Colorado now, it's all burned.
Oh yeah, from the drought. You mean the forest fires?
Yeah.
All right, let's finish up this last article. It's starting to rain.
Yes,
heavy.
we're getting rain, baby.
We getting a thunderstorm now? Today?
You said so. I think so.
Okay.
Our weather girl said
Well,
so.
because of all the heat and humidity with the heat wave, you know.
In an election year dominated by discussion of the middle class, Fritz's case highlights a dim reality for the growing group in poverty. Millions could fall through the cracks as government aid from unemployment insurance, Medicaid, welfare, and food stamps diminishes. The issues aren't just with public benefits. We have some deep problems in the economy. He pointed to the recent recession, but also longer-term changes in the economy such as globalization, automation, outsourcing, immigration, and less unionization that have pushed median household income lower. Even after strong economic growth in the 1990s, poverty never fell below a 1973 low of 11.1%. That low point came after President Lyndon Johnson's War on Poverty, launched in 1964, that created Medicaid and Medicare and other social welfare programs. And right-wing conservatives hate Lyndon Johnson.
Lyndon Baines Johnson. They don't like any Democrat. That
Yes,
fights.
but FDR and Lyndon Johnson are the worst of the worst because they helped out so many people. Get it?
Is that why they mocked Jimmy Carter? Because he seemed like a pretty compassionate man, Jimmy Carter.
They mocked Jimmy Carter because, number one, the president has nothing to do with the economy. But yet we had the oil,
Yeah. Okay.
okay?
Okay.
Crises in the 70s, which killed the economy. So they blamed Carter. And then they blamed that he was weak, that he couldn't get back at the hostages.
He did rescue the hostages.
But Reagan and his secret October surprise were over there dealing with Iran and saying, we're going to illegally sell you the missiles if you let the hostages go when I am president.
Oh, that's how
Again, treason!
That's how it happened.
And then, need I mention Iran-Contra? Again, treason! You see Mr. Reagan go to jail? You see him prosecuted for anything?
We didn't see Dick Cheney and G.W. Bush go to jail either.
War criminals. And they're out there on the streets, making their big bucks.
Oliver North, right?
I am reluctant to say that we've gone back to where we were in the 60s. The programs we enacted make a big difference. The problem is that the tidal wave of low-wage jobs is dragging us down, and the wage problem is not going to go away. Stacy Mazer of the National Association of State Budget Officers said states will be watching for poverty increases when figures are released in September.
All right. That was a real blockbuster of an article to finish off this week's progressive discussions. As you can hear, listeners and viewers, it is raining very hard right now here in northeastern New Jersey. I only heard a little bit of thunder.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us this week for Progressive Discussions. You know, this is the first time we ever finished a show with a heavy thunderstorm, with a heavy rain.
Uh-huh.
There's
Thunder.
There's the thunder. There's the thunder. Oh, she blows. Think I should... Oh, she blows. Hey, wait a minute. Maybe I should finish off with the bosun's whistle. Oh, I put it away. Forget it. All right, anyway. See you next time. Wow. I'm surprised. You know what? I used to see a lot more thunderstorms in the summer when I was a kid in this part of the country than today. We actually need the rain. This is the first really heavy rain that we've gotten this year, right? Or no?
We got one a couple days ago.
Well, it should help my vegetable and herb garden out considerably. Say so long to these
So
people.
long, bad people.